Good afternoon. Welcome to the New Orleans Jazz Museum. It is a beautiful day here. I am Hunter Miles Davis, a ranger with the National Park Service, New Orleans Jazz National Historical Park, and today we have a treat for you. I am featured with some of the best musicians in the city today, so I hope you sit back, enjoy, relax, and listen to the music.
Thank you all so much, and good afternoon, and welcome to the New Orleans Jazz Museum. We're doing a little program today. It's a perfect day. I mean, a little bit sunny, but you know, still, I mean, perfect day to be here playing some New Orleans jazz music for y'all. And what a great band we got today. So we're going to keep on going with some great old New Orleans music. Today I was thinking we would talk a little bit about Louis Armstrong. And of course, he's the king of jazz down here in New Orleans. And if it were up to me, I'd say he was the king of jazz in general. But anyway, we're just talking about New Orleans music right now. And I think we can say Louis Armstrong is an undisputed champion down here in New Orleans anyway. And so we're going to talk a little bit about Louis Armstrong. Now, first thing we might say is he didn't invent jazz. In fact, there were some great guys playing jazz music before Louis hit the scene. And so I think that'd be a good place to start. There were lots of great musicians playing jazz around New Orleans, and that was the environment that a young Louis Armstrong grew up in. When he was just old enough to walk around, he was going and checking out the music coming out of some of the different venues. His favorite musician, in fact, was a cornet player named Joe Oliver. And by the way, cornet is very similar to the trumpet. Has a slightly different shape and a slightly different sound. But back in the early days of jazz, all the players were playing the cornet, but most of them switched over to the trumpet. But anyway, that's what Katie's got. We're lucky to have a great trumpeter up here today, Katie, and we're gonna do another old number. How about Dr. Jazz? We're gonna do this is a song that Joe Oliver had a hit with. He wrote it, and everybody since has played it, especially in New Orleans. It's called Hello Central. Give me Dr. Jazz. Dr. Jazz, he's got what I need, I'd say has. Oh, when I'm feeling down and I've got the blues, he's the one that makes me put on both my dancing shoes. The more I get, the more I wanna sing. I'm paging Dr. Jazz in my dreams. Well, when I'm doubled down to Nixon, he's the one that gets my fix. Hello Central, give me Dr. Jazz. I'll play it. need, I bet he has the truth. I'm feeling down, I got the blues. He's the one that makes me put on both my dancing shoes. Alright, get them all right when it seems. It's a funny thing, and I'm paging Dr. Jazz in my dreams. Well, when I'm feeling down and out, he's the one that makes me shout. Central, give me Dr. Jazz. Yeah. Hello Central, give me Dr. Jazz. And as I was saying, that song was written and recorded by Joe Oliver. And he did it first, and he was Louis Armstrong's favorite trumpet player and cornet player back in the day. Now, like I said, Louis Armstrong was exposed to lots of great music walking around New Orleans. He was also exposed to a whole lot of other stuff, too. In fact, he told a story in one interview about walking around town when he was just a kid, and it'd be 9 in the morning, and some of those clubs would still be partying from the night before. And he would go peek in the curtain and peek in the window and see what was going on. And he'd see adults in there doing all sorts of crazy dances, the kind that you wouldn't see normally during the day, I guess. And here's one of the songs he talked about hearing back then. It's called My Bucket's Got a Hole in It. Bucket's got a hole in it. Say my bucket's got a hole in it. That old bucket's got a hole in it. Can't buy no beer. Well, my bucket's got a hole in it. Say my bucket's got a hole in it. That old bucket's got a hole in it. We can't buy no beer. Standing on the corner with my bucket in my hand, waiting for some lady who ain't got no man. So maybe my bucket's got a hole in it. Say my bucket's got a hole in it. That old bucket's got a hole in it. You can't buy no business. Carrie Lewis on the bass, yo. my bucket's got a hole in it. Yeah, my bucket's got a hole in it. That old bucket's got a hole in it. Can't buy no beer. You keep knocking, but you can't come in. You keep knocking, but you can't come in. I got your sister, she said don't let you in. No matter where you've been. Got one more. She said I love you, but your feet's too big. Can't stand you cause your feet's too big. Mad at me cause my feet's too big. I love you, but your feet's too big. One more time. She said I like you, but your feet's too big. I like you, but your feet's too big. Mad at me cause my feet's too big. Well, I love you, but your feet's too big. Ba-da-doo-da-doo-da-doo-da. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank y'all. Your feet's too big. It's called My Bucket's Got a Hole in It. That's one of those old New Orleans blues songs. You know, the nice thing about those songs is that they've been played for many, many years, well over 100 years. And everybody who plays that song does it just a little bit different, but they always keep the flavor of the original song. So, yeah, we're talking about New Orleans in the early days and Louis Armstrong. Now, like I said, Louis was checking out some of the great musicians that were playing around. And when he was older, Louis Armstrong started to get some gigs of his own. He started filling in for other musicians when they went out of town and stuff like that. And so one of the bands he got to play with would travel around on the day of the job in a wagon. And on the side of the wagon, they would have the written where the band was going to be playing that night. It was sort of like creating a post on social media, except they didn't have all that. And so you'd ride around, and they called it tailgating because the trombone player would be on the back. You know why? Because the trombone player has to move his slide around. So they'd always put the trombone player on the back. That's what this song is about. It's called the Tailgate Ramble. There's a great story of when Louis Armstrong was riding one of those wagons promoting his band, and his mentor, Joe Oliver, was on another wagon promoting his band, and the two bandwagons came to the same intersection at the same time, and they started to do a musical battle. And at that point, Joe Oliver could outplay Louis Armstrong, but Louis was his buddy, and he didn't want to embarrass Louis. And so, according to Louis Armstrong, Joe saw him and backed off, and they both had a good time. So here's a song that the great trombone player wrote. It's called, his name was Kid Ory. He wrote this. It's called A Tailgate Ramble. A-flat, is that where we all at? Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. Starts, put your tailgate down, let the band parade all around town. Give the trombone man room to move his slide and dance and play round the countryside. Wasn't long ago, we were in our teens. That's the way we played way down in New Orleans. birthday of Hunter Davis, y'all. All right, how about that? It's called a Tailgate Ramble, featuring Hunter on the drums. Yeah, sounded good. And Katie on the trumpet, too. Yeah. And again, thank y'all for hanging out. If you're just joining us, welcome. We're talking about Louis Armstrong with the down on Their Luck Orchestra, down on our luck, I don't know. Down on the Luck Orchestra. And we're here with the New Orleans Jazz Museum, also sponsored by the New Orleans Jazz National Historical Park. Both very interesting places to learn more about New Orleans music. We got a great band, and we're talking about Louis Armstrong and his story down in New Orleans. We've been talking about his early days and when he was walking around New Orleans, you know, learning and listening to the different types of music that was being played. And the neat thing about New Orleans is that you can still do that today. You can walk around New Orleans and, you know, a lot of clubs, they keep the door open so you can walk down the street and enjoy the music. And of course, we got a lot of parading going on. It's nice to see that going on again, that's right. But like most of the great New Orleans musicians, they didn't really become successful until they left New Orleans. And so it's important for us to let y'all know that Louis Armstrong didn't become famous until after he left New Orleans. He said he would never leave New Orleans, too, unless Joe told him to leave. And that's exactly what happened. Joe Oliver got a great gig up in Chicago, and he invited Louis to come up and join his band in Chicago. And the two of them had learned so much together that it was almost a magical connection. People couldn't explain how it was that Joe and Louis could seem to know what the other musician was thinking and playing. We're going to do a song that they had a hit with up there in the early days in Chicago. Anybody from Chicago here today? All right, one or two people. You know, we're talking about down 45th and Calumet, and every time I say that, people from Chicago say, "Oh yeah, South Side." That's right, way down there, and that's where the action was, and that's where a lot of people argue that that's really where jazz was born, because that's where it really ignited and jazz became super popular outside of New Orleans. So, you know, you could argue that jazz was born in Chicago, but it was all the New Orleans musicians coming up from New Orleans that were playing it. Kind of an interesting phenomenon. But anyway, we're going to play a song that they had a hit with. They were playing at a place called the Royal Gardens. And while Joe Oliver was playing there, he had such a great following that they made him the king. And he was the king of the Royal Gardens. And so that's when they started calling him King Oliver. And that's when they wrote this song called the Royal Garden Blues. And here we go. One, two, ready, play. Garden Blues. That featured everybody in the Down on Their Luck Orchestra. I say down on their luck because normally their piano player is Ranger John Beebe, and he has bad luck. He's on jury duty today. My good luck. So down on their luck, lucky for me. That's right. Again, welcome. Glad y'all are here. We're playing some Louis Armstrong hits, and that was one called the Royal Garden Blues after Louis. It was up in Chicago, and he was playing with Joe Oliver. That's when Louis had his first big hit. Anybody know what Louis Armstrong's first big hit was? I'll give you a hint. It had a dance that went with it that I'm not going to demonstrate. His big hit was called the Heebie Jeebies. That was the first song that he really became successful with. And the story of the song is sort of like this. He was in the studio recording it with the band, and some of the songs they used to record, they had really practiced and worked up, and then some of them they just sort of recorded on the spot without a whole lot of rehearsal. And that was the case with this song, the Heebie Jeebies. Somebody had written the song and given it to the band, and Louis had the lyrics written out. He dropped the lyrics, and instead of cutting the recording, he just started scat singing. And this was something that had been done before, but Louis Armstrong took it to a whole new level, and that became his trademark for the rest of his life. If you know anything about Louis, you might know that he's big into scat singing. What's scat singing? That's when instead of singing words, you just sort of come up with your own syllables that don't really mean anything. But that's what he did in this song, and this is one we're going to do for you now, called the Heebie Jeebies. Boys, come on down for a little bit of joy. Baby, don't you know you? Come on, show it, honey, don't be blue. Well, come on down and do that dance. Call the Heebie Jeebie dance. Call the Heebie Jeebie dance. Ah, it's good the sky. La 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 la. Oh, la do do ba do da do da. Da boom da da ba do do da. Come on, no, come on, show it, honey, don't be blue. Come on down and do that dance. Call the Heebie Jeebie dance. Call the Heebie Jeebie blues. Joy. Baby, don't you know it? Come on, show honey, don't be blue. Ah, come on down, do that dance. Come on, Heebie Jeebies. Thank y'all. The Heebie Jeebies Blues is the name of that song. And that was Louis Armstrong's first big hit. And a lot of record companies made a lot of money off that song. But one thing Louis Armstrong got was some publicity out of that. And that helped promote him and get him going. Now, Louis Armstrong got married for the second time while he was up in Chicago. He fell in love with the piano player that was in his band. And her name was Lil Hardin. And she was from Tennessee, I think. And she was a great piano player, but she also helped, you know, give Louis the motivation. And she also helped him learn how to dress and how to carry himself and how to basically, you know, act like a seasoned professional musician. And so that was one of the things. They also collaborated on a bunch of songs together. And this is one of the songs that they wrote together, and it's called Struttin' with Some Barbecue. First? Sure. Okay. You ever go to A flat?
Oh, we can do that like last half.
All right, yeah. And for this selection, Katie has chosen her Flugelhorn, which is similar to the trumpet, but it has a slightly more mellow sound. We hope you all enjoy it. One, two, go. yeah, it's Katie Rogers on the flugelhorn. It makes me happy to hear her play the flugelhorn because it shows it still works. We were playing a few weeks ago, and she left the flugelhorn on top of the piano I was playing, and it fell off when I was playing a solo. And I was afraid it was broken, but it still works. It still sounds good. So yeah, Louis Armstrong had a hit with that song. He co-wrote with his wife, Lil Hardin, during those days in Chicago. Around this time, people started using the word jazz to describe the kind of music that we've been playing. The word jazz has lots of different uses and lots of different meanings, but in those days, they used it to mean that sort of New Orleans low-down lifestyle that was associated with this kind of music. But then, in the 1930s came around, Louis Armstrong was still doing good. A lot of musicians were broke because they had the whole Great Depression and nobody had any money. But Louis Armstrong was engrossed in the film industry. He was out in California making some movies, and it's neat to watch them if you ever get a chance. There's lots of old movies where Louis Armstrong will pop up in the movie making a cameo or playing in the band in the movie. This is one of those songs. This features Katie. It's called Jeepers Creepers. Where'd you get those peepers?
Well, I go to For Your Eyes Only on magazine.
For Your Eyes Only on magazine. That's the answer. All right. I get the iStore. 3 down.
One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Jeepers, creepers, where'd you get them peepers? Jeepers, creepers, where'd you get those eyes? Gosh, I'll get 'em, how'd they get so little? Gosh, I'll get 'em, how'd they get that size? Well, golly gee, when you turn those heaters on, woe is me. Got to put my cheetahs on. Well, jeepers, creepers, where'd you get them peepers? Oh, those weepers, how they hypnotize. Yes, where'd you get those eyes? Carrie Lewis. Well, jeepers, creepers, when'd you get them peepers? Jeepers, creepers, where'd you get those eyes? Oh, gosh, I'll get 'em. How'd they get so lit up? Gosh, I'll get 'em. How'd they get that size? Well, golly gee, when you turn those heaters on, woe is me. Got to put my cheaters on. Well, jeepers, creepers, when'd you get them peepers? Oh, those weepers, how they hypnotize. Yes, where'd you get those?
Katie Rogers, y'all. And one of the missions of the New Orleans Jazz National Historical Park is also to let people know where they can hear great New Orleans jazz while they're in town. And so I thought it might be a good time to let y'all know where else we're going to be playing. How about y'all? Y'all playing anywhere tonight? Not tonight? Not tonight? Not. Okay, I'm working over on Bourbon Street tonight at a club called Fritzl's. We start at 8 o'clock, and we'll be playing some New Orleans-style music. If you feel like checking out some more, sort of like what we're doing up here today, come and stop by, enjoy some great New Orleans music. But if you walk around, you can discover all sorts of great New Orleans jazz. But you can also come up to any musician. You can come up to us after the program if you like, and we can point you in a direction of some other places to hear great music. Of course, here at the New Orleans Jazz Museum, they have a great program, and we'd be happy to let you know about some of the events that we have going on down here as well. So we're going to do a pretty song. Louis Armstrong, you know, we could do a 2 or 3 hour program about his music and all the different directions he went in. But in the meantime, we're going to do a pretty song that he recorded later in his career. It's a beautiful song for all the lovers out there. If you feel like dancing, the sun's going down a little bit. It's not quite as powerful on us. If you feel like dancing, this is called Give Me a Kiss to Build a Dream On. Well, give me a kiss to build a dream on. My imagination will thrive upon that kiss. Sweetheart, I ask no more than this. Hey, Mona, kiss to build a dream on. Where's your washboard? Well, give me your lips before you leave me. My imagination will feed my hungry heart. Well, baby, one thing before we part, I kiss to build a dream on. Well, I'm alone with my fancies. I'll be dreaming of you, inventing romances, making believe they're true. I kiss to build a dream on. My imagination will let that moment live. I give me what you alone can give. I kiss to build a dream on. nation will let that moment live. I give me what you alone can give. I guess you will not dream on. Oh, yeah. Thank y'all so much. Well, looks like we got time for one more song before we gotta pack up and head on out. But we're gonna do actually a song. This is very interesting. This song was very important in the history of jazz music. It was the last time that a jazz song made #1 on the pop music charts. This was like in the year 1964, if anybody remembers back that far. Back then, the Beatles were dominating the music charts, but this song actually came and was #1 for a while. And an interesting story about this song is that Louis Armstrong was on the road. He was playing in Europe, and he was playing somewhere, and the audience started yelling out the name of this song. The audience started yelling. They were like, "Hello, Dolly, hello, Dolly, hello." And Louis Armstrong had no idea what they were talking about. Of course, Louis had recorded 1,000 songs. And he had recorded Hello, Dolly and had completely forgotten about it. And while he was out of the country, the song became a #1 hit. And the audience wanted to hear it. So Louis Armstrong had to get a copy of his own record and learn the song over again so that he could perform it. But we know it, we don't have to look it up, and we're gonna do it for you now. We hope you all enjoy this one. This is called Hello, Dolly. I said, hello, Dolly. So nice to have you back where you belong. You're looking swell, Dolly. I can tell, Dolly. Still going, you're still going, you're still going strong. I feel the room sway when that band's playing one of my old favorite songs from way back when. So, golly gee, fellas, have a little faith in me. Oh, darling, never go away again. When that Flugelhorn's playing one of our old favorite songs from way back when. So, golly gee, fellas, have a little faith in me. Oh, darling, never go away. Promise you'll never go away. Darling, never go away again. I thank y'all so much. That's Katie Rogers on the trumpet and flugelhorn. Hunter Davis on the drums. Mr. Kerry Lewis on the bass. My name is Richard Scott. And how about our crew over here making it all happen? We appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much for joining us today, and be sure to check out the New Orleans Jazz Museum and all the different activities and programs that they got going on, and the New Orleans Jazz National Historical Park for putting this program together. Have a great time in New Orleans, y'all. Have a great day.